Oh man, am I excited for this. Okay, now this is going to be a bit of a different review here since I'll be dealing with a different kind of game, so prepare yourself. Imagine this scenario. You wake up somewhere in the middle of the ocean with no recollection of how you got there, and your last memory is being drugged to sleep. Upon getting out of your room, you learn that you're not the only one there, but are one with a group of strangers forced to solve a sequence of puzzles in order to escape. And you only have 9 hours to do it, and failure to meet that deadline or follow your supposed kidnapper's exact orders will result in immediate death via explosion from a bomb implanted into your body. Now with stakes so high, you should ask yourself a few questions. Just what do you do? What's your plan? And who are all these people? And more importantly, can you trust them with your lives after just meeting them? How'd I do? Got you guys interested yet? Well good, because this is 999, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. One of the coolest stories I've ever experienced so far in any game. And with the sequel, Virtue's Last Reward for 3DS and Vita right on the horizon, I've taken it upon myself to tell you guys why 999 is so freaking good. 999 isn't necessarily a game per se. By definition, it is a visual novel with occasional puzzles, which means that most of the time is spent constantly scrolling through text and reading a lot of dialogue. While you are encouraged to replay through the game, the first playthrough can take about 6 to 7 hours, and a major percentage of that is spent reading. But since the game is pretty much all story, I'll bring that up again in a bit. The remaining percentage of the game will throw you into escape the room puzzles, where you do just that. You're trapped in a room and you need to examine your surroundings and solve some puzzles to progress the story and get yourself into some more rooms. Each room, save for the final ones, can take anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes, give or take a few. And while it's not on a Professor Layton level of how the hell do I do this, some of these puzzles can actually take a good amount of thought to get through. Because of course, you can just mindlessly click everywhere and eventually get somewhere, but good luck doing that in a timely manner. But that is largely the only true gameplay there is here. This is a visual novel, so there are a few times where different options on what to say in the conversation will pop up, but most of it doesn't affect the path you're going on, save for deciding which door you want to go through, which again is a point I'll bring up later. So in all, that's what technically makes 999 a game. But since most of the game is, again, just reading, you have to make sure the story is a good one, and I will be damned if this is not one of the most well-written and edge-of-my-seat intense stories I've ever invested into. What I said in the intro is the exact scenario here. You are Junpei, a college student who randomly finds himself trapped in that situation. And as the title says, there are 8 others with you, all going by codenames except for Junpei himself, because he was too stupid and mindlessly let his name out in the beginning. Good job. There's the older Ace, the blind Snake, his perky sister Clover, the attitudinal Santa, your childhood friend Akane, who goes by the nickname June, the muscular 7, resident fan service Lotus, and the 9th man, and I guess I can just say he's incredibly unlucky. Your kidnapper goes by the name of Zero, who's forcing you all to play the nonary game, where you must go through numbered doors in order to find one with a 9 on it. You get it? There's 9 hours to live, 9 people playing, and 9 doors in the game. Boom. Now the title makes perfect sense. The characters will occasionally come into a fork in the road, giving you the choice on which door you want to go through next, since not everyone can go in the same door. There's some math involved, but everyone is wearing a special bracelet and there's a number on it, and according to those numbers, a special form of addition limits a select few to each door, and only 3 to 5 are allowed in. And once they register their numbers, they have 81 seconds to go through the door and re-register themselves before they go boom. So you'll be splitting up very often and getting a chance to learn all the characters, but while you learn about each person, there's still plenty of room for suspicion, leaving you just as much in the dark as Junpei, which is something I think is awesome. Again, can you really trust these people when they won't even give you their real names? Now there is a lot here that's considered spoilers, so I'm pretty limited in what I can say. I'd even say the first 10 to 15 minutes of story after the first room is not worth spoiling, since what happens is what sold me on the rest of the story, and since it left that much of an impression on me, I shall let you guys discover for yourselves. But rest assured, this story is just filled with awesome moments. The twists and turns the story takes will probably have you go, oh man, what, multiple times. And where the story really hits its peaks are with the endings, where some things come together. The game says there are 6 endings, but one of which is just another ending with the to be continued midway through, so there's really only 5. And the ending you get is determined by the path you go on through the game. There are 3 bad ones, and one that, upon completion, unlocks the ability to go for the one true ending. And each of them are awesome. Especially the last 2 endings, where I'd say they're just amazing. I won't say anything regarding the endings, of course, but some of them come completely out of left field, and in my opinion, they are so well done, and they just beg you to replay through the game again just to see what'll happen elsewise. And it's totally worth going through all of them again because the payoff is excellent. I'll just say that the reason you're all here is quite the discovery. Personally, my first playthrough was taken pretty slowly over 2 weeks, and the other 4 playthroughs in a matter of 3 days, so take that as you will. That's in part to having the ability to speed through already seen text in subsequent playthroughs, which is an awesome addition and doesn't cause the replays to be that tedious. You do have to replay any previously done rooms, and it would have been nice to skip them too, but it's not too much of a hassle. And you might have seen on the box art that there's a little rated M image on there. There is a lot of cussing going on, but more importantly, there is blood. A lot of it. And there are graphic descriptions of how that blood got there. None of it is animated, so it's only shown in still images, but personally, I'm someone who doesn't take gore very well, and this one didn't faze me in the slightest. If anything, it only adds to the incredibly tense atmosphere, but the rated M tag here is definitely warranted. Presentation-wise, I have to say it's fantastic. Graphically speaking, the sprite work is excellent, the backgrounds are greatly detailed, the short few CGI cutscenes are really well done, and there are even 3D models for the items in the room escapes, which are well done also. And as you can probably guess, this is definitely a Japanese game. But no worries, the guys at Access Games did a phenomenal job with the translation. I can't recall any random quirks or typos, and the only thing that sorta irked me was something that's way at the end of the game, but it was pretty minute. But, what you're seeing now is what's known as the elevator scene, and, I think just by watching this, you'll get a good idea of how well done the translation is. And more importantly, the presentation of that story is fantastic. You'll become attached to each of these characters and feel the intense moments when they do. And it's also thanks to the soundtrack, which, and say it with me now, is fantastic. It's one of those games that really benefits from just playing it in the dark with headphones on, since it really adds to the level of immersion. Let me just play 5 seconds of a certain track here. I'd wager that anyone who's played 999 easily had some memories brought up, no matter how painful they may be. And that's 999, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. And honestly, I barely even scratched the surface. This review is very truncated because I can easily go on for a whole lot longer on why I love this game, but I wanted to keep this concise, and I'd be risking talking about spoilers if I did go on. While I also love games on the DS like Professor Layton, Ace Attorney, and Ghost Trick, I'd say that this is the best overall story since it actually makes me feel tense. The cryptic story, really intense moments, and excellent character progression really make the story stand out in my eyes. And the occasional room escapes help make the journey feel more immersive since you need to do as much work to get out. And honestly, after finishing the entire story, it just would not leave my head for days, to the point of it would actually get in the way of actual things I needed to do. It may seem weird to those who haven't experienced this game yet to why I'm giving it such a highlight, but if you look at any in-depth review for this game, you will notice that I'm really no different. Anybody who can appreciate an epic story who doesn't mind the whole choose-your-own pathway setup, honestly would be foolish to not give this game a shot. It recently got repackaged to fit along with the sequel in the Zero Escape series, and only goes for $20, which is perfect. The sequel, Virtue's Last Reward, is just coming out for 3DS and Vita, and it seems to follow a similar setup to 999, but instead boasts a whopping 24 endings, which is insane and kind of awesome at the same time. And there are talks of there being a third game also, so it's the perfect time to get into the series. But just know beforehand, do not badmouth the Funyarinpa. Do not badmouth the Funyarinpa. You see that was a reference to 999? It's a game you should play. It's pretty good. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the review. I've been wanting to do something a little different for a while now, so I hope you at the very least didn't hate it. And since people are probably gonna ask because they didn't read the description below, I got my DS footage from the awesome guys at longplays.org on the YouTube channel CubeX55, since I don't have a way to record DS footage myself. Now of course, if you enjoyed the review, click the links here to see my older stuff, throw out game suggestions in the comments, and stay tuned for more reviews. So with all that said, I'll catch y'all next time.